what are some ways that they can pursue their path to receiving their gifts?
Oh, well, something that came to me while you were speaking was prayer. I had an interview a while back where someone was just really trying to understand, kind of, because they had come from and were still in a a Bible upbringing, with the teachings of the Bible. And I've heard this a lot, where people don't understand what it is that we do, or that we're able to do, and sometimes it's met with disapproval, and doubt, all sorts of things. And how I explained it to her was, I just ask for the answers, or I ask the questions and I receive the answers in a multitude of ways. So that can be, a vision, I hear something, it's a synchronicity. I mean, all sorts of different things. And so I likened it to, I asked her, do you pray? And she said, yes. I said, okay, when you pray, are you hoping for and or even expecting to receive an answer to your prayer? Well, yeah. I mean, why else would you pray, right? And so I said, have you ever believed that you have received an answer to your prayer? Yes. Okay. How did you know that? Well, because I asked for something and, the next day someone, popped into my life and, gave me the message or whatever. And I said, well, that was the answer to your prayer in the way that you were comfortable receiving it.
Right. The way that you're comfortable at that point in time in receiving it.
Right.
Right. Because we have to look for the little hints. And that's how my husband started. He would see things, or, a song would come on in the car while he's driving. It's like, oh, and the truth is, that's an awesome way to start. And it's how most people start. We start seeing little cues in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
But what did we get to? We got to the point where we ask a question, get an answer. Mm-hmm. And so that kind of goes to the show that we did, it was last month, which you guys can see on YouTube and all the other podcasts. And we have some clips that we created. I sent you all the clips.
Yes, thank you.
Boom, 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 boom.
Love them.
But it's the power of listening, right? And so, and it is a practice. You don't just wake up and start active listening. I don't think. Do you?
No. I mean, that's not how I perceived it to be in my life. Now, I do believe that there are some people that, yes, and I think there's more and more people, or I know that there's more and more people being born with that ability and knowing as soon as they come out of the womb. I mean, and children too. The reason why there are a lot of stories, you may have heard a lot of stories about children seeing things or having imaginary friends and things like that, is because they don't have, number one, they don't have the filter. They're not afraid. They don't know to be afraid. And they don't have the block to it, because they're just living their life and they don't know that they don't know anything else. So they're receiving whatever is being given to them. And if they are encouraged to continue to be open, that's when you get these, these people that you'll see like on TV or whatever, and they're in high school and they're mediums, you know, and they're talking to all sorts of dead people, you know. It's like that is available to all of us. We need to be open to receive it in order to receive it, though.
Right. And so that deals with, you know, I work a lot, and I'm sure you do too, with helping people deprogram themselves, right? Because when you're a child, you're not as fully programmed yet. And it looks like we have a caller. And when you get to our age, or even as a teenager, you can get very programmed. And so then you've been trained to think that you are that the only ones who can you know, hear the clergy or what have you. And it's not the case. You know, if you here's what I'm going to tell you, and then we're going to take this caller, which is 678-570. If you choose to listen, if you choose to ask and you choose to listen, and be present, clear your body, so you can, you know, just hear God's word, and that's your intention, you can do it. I really didn't have training like that.
Yeah.
I mean, actually, my training came from sales.
Yeah. That's throwing your feet to the fire right there. Sales.
In sales, what happened? You don't sell with your mouth. You sell by listening and fulfilling on the obligation. So anybody's got an issue with sales, because there's a lot of people, I had tons of doctors and healers and whatever. Oh, I don't want to sell. I'm like, really? Then you don't want to listen to people. You don't want to fulfill on your obligation to how to serve somebody, because that's what sales is really all about. It got this negative connotation. It's really about active listening. Yeah. 678-570. We're excited to have you on the call. We're going to ask you your name, first name or last name, if you want to do that too, and where you're calling from, and what your question is. So here we go.
Ladies,
good morning, Grand Rising.
Hi, Jody. Hi, Michelle. I go to InterQuest, so I know.
Yes. Hi, Tamara.
Hi, Tamara. Good to see you, hear you.
Yes. So that's good. I just wanted to say thank you for inviting me on the show this morning. I'm loving it. I'm just really enjoying it.
Thank you.
And I met you, Jody, on Saturday, but I do know that I've met you before that.
Yeah, we met at
just great
InterQuest
information.
as well. Yeah, we met at InterQuest.
Yep, we did. Now, and without the angel wings, I'm like, that's right. I have met her before. So angel wings are great on
Don't
Saturday.
forget the halo, and I have my tiara.
I mean, the halo, the halo and everything. It was great. So I do have a question, and it is pertaining to some of the stuff we've been talking about. And then let me just go with, in my mind, in my perception of, we discussed maybe entities that can attach to you. And in my mind, it automatically goes to, you know, the exorcism, you know, it's like, oh my God, that's what it looks like to me. Can you give an example of how something like that would look like in your life? And you're walking around, you don't even know, you're not aware of it. You're not aware that it's there. And can you give an example, or maybe kind of talk through just a little bit as to how that it could impinge on your life?
Michelle, you want to go first, or should I go first?
Go ahead. I'll follow up. Yeah.
Okay. So how it shows up in your life, you're self-sabotaging. You don't remember what you said. Someone says, you say something, and someone says, and you have zero recall that you just said that. And someone says, well, why did you just say that? And you're like, I don't remember saying that. Because there's a dark force. It's like a shapeshifter, right? And that shapeshifter, when they take over, you don't have recall. And people think there's something wrong with their brain. There's not. Nothing wrong. Now, there could be. Right. Don't get me wrong. But that's not what we're talking about now. And so if there's a lot of self-sabotage, and lack of memory for what you're doing, and you're trying, like you're really trying, especially for the people who are trying to do the things that are being asked and just can't do it, there's a dark force. You want to go ahead, Michelle?
Right.
Yeah. What just came to me too, in a very practical way, that it can show up is if you're finding yourself being chronically sick. So you constantly, you have a cold and you just get over this cold and now you have the flu, or now you have another cold, or, you have a rash, or you get injured. And if these things are chronic and that your immune system is healthy, you're not a clumsy person, if this is out of the ordinary for you and your body, that could be a clue as well.
That's really, really insightful information for me particularly, because that's where a lot of that has shown up lately, is the illness part. And I've really, in these last couple of years, gotten more to that healthier side, you know what I mean? Going more homeopathic. And I typically have problems in the sinus area. I've had 3 sinus surgeries, but I've really done well. And then lately it's really shown up again. And I'm like, why is this happening again now? But I will say that there's more classes, and I'm with deliberate intent focusing on my spiritual growth. You know what I'm saying? That spiritual growth, and on an everyday, incorporate this, incorporate the meditation, incorporate the yoga, incorporate the walking, incorporate all these things, and the food and what I'm eating and what I'm consuming, and, not taking aspirin anymore, and making sure you're using a homeopathic thing for a headache.
Oh yeah. Like frankincense. Frankincense for a headache, or lavender or peppermint all day. Although you can't take peppermint. Sorry. I just heard that.
We talked about that. And I stopped doing the peppermint, but I have lavender and roll-on and frankincense and roll-on. So those are, and of course my diffusers and the essential oils right there with you. And I'm learning all that. I never used any of that prior to a couple of years ago. And, but now I have been getting hit hard here lately. And that's why that discussion came up the other day. And I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I don't have to my head doesn't have to spin around on my shoulder.
No.
Spewing vomit.
No. And the truth is, I want to.
Although I feel that way today,
Right.
I feel that's happening internally, but not, it's not showing up externally. So thank you very much. That was a lot of help. And I'm now you're on. I'm going to subscribe and be on your show, because this is great.
Thank
Yay,
you,
Tamara.